What's going on, guys? Bob Roche from RocheTechnology.com here with an overview for you of PureGear's latest and greatest cases for the iPhone 5. Now, if you guys have been subscribed to me for a while now, or maybe you just happen to stumble across this video from other PureGear videos, you'll probably know that I actually reviewed these cases, actually all three of these, when I had them for the iPhone 4. I had the 4S, but they're also formatted for the 4. But since the iPhone 5 has just recently come out, PureGear has updated their complete line of cases for the iPhone 5. So here today we have the PX260, the slim shell case, as well as the dual tech. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll do each one of these cases from left to right, and go ahead and get started here. We'll go ahead and get started with the PX260. So I actually never did a review of this case. I actually don't think they have this particular case for the 4S, but I did do the PX360, which that just has that, I think it's like a carabine, or I'm not quite sure what that's called exactly off the top of my head, but that little mountain climbing clip. But I'll go ahead and just give you guys a quick demo, a quick tour, if you will, around this case. You can see right here, PX260 made for life. This is part of their extreme shock protection system for your phone. This guy really does not mess around. As you can see, I've loosened these screws here because this is actually a two-part case. So this actually uses real screws, so your phone is not going to be slipping out of this case at all. Your phone really does end about here, so there's all this extra width around every single edge of your phone, so it's really going to help against drops. You can see I'll try to get this to focus in the back here so you can get a feel for that material. Do the classic finger trick. There we go. So you get a sense there's that soft sort of material back there. Gives your phone some nice protection on the back. See if we get some crazy focus. There we go. So as you can see, it uses a black, and I think they also have sort of like a darker blue sort of color, but this is a black one, as well as with little green accents. I really do like those. But breaking out the iPhone 5 here, I'm not going to go too in depth with this, but go ahead and slide the phone in. Fits in there exactly. There's really no wiggle room in there, so very, very nice fit. And we'll go ahead and put the top on. And you may be wondering, dude, how am I going to screw these in? Am I supposed to Hulk it in there? No, they give you a nice little tool for that. So we'll go ahead and focus on that. I guess like a little bottle opener or something. Maybe throw this on a keychain. I'm not sure what you'd measure that's 2 inches, but there you go. You have it if you want it. So I'm just going to go ahead and I will go ahead and retime this clip or just cut this out altogether. But you do indeed have to actually screw in all 6 of these. So I'll see you guys in just 1 second. Alright, so just screwing in this last screw here, and the case is now fully screwed in. All 6 of these are nice and intact. So here it is on the phone. Now if you look back to my PX360 review, I really did like this case a lot. It did offer a lot of protection. I love the design. It kind of makes it feel like a Galaxy S3, so that bigger width, because these, like I said, your phone ends right about here. So you have a couple millimeters of thickness on each side, so it makes it feel like a bigger phone. You can still reach all the screen, no biggie. But one thing I didn't like about the PX360 was that it had that little carabiner, however you want to say that, that really I never used. Some of you guys might, if you're looking to spend $50 or $60 on a case, you maybe want something like that. Personally, I never did, and I kind of wish I could just cut that thing off. That's exactly what they did here. So this case is going to be very nice for you if you like to have, sort of like a bigger feel to your phone. Also give it tons of protection. Now this case, the back is sort of just like a plastic material. It's not a silicone, so if you wear tighter jeans or something, you're not going to have a hard time getting this out of your pocket, so I really do like that about this case. The material it's made out of is very nice. So just focusing back here on the camera, lines up perfect. When taking pictures, I didn't get any circle effects, from covering up the flash or anything. So that was not an issue. Just taking you guys around the case real quick. We'll go ahead and here's your silent switch. Here's your volume buttons. You can see a nice little crease along the sides here where the case does open up. Down here, this is another kind of con to this, only because that taking pulling it out is not too bad. But putting tucking this guy back in here kind of is a pain. And if you dock your phone a lot, or if you have some lightning accessories and you're constantly docking your phone, this may actually get in the way. I found that you can't really bend this back all that much. I do have a clock radio, and it does come pretty close to the back of this phone, and I found myself not being able to use it with this thing on here because it simply got in the way. So if you want to dock this, or just depending on your usage, this may be a problem for you, this guy right here. But I guess there is a trade-off. It does help keep lint and pocket stuff all out of your headphone jack and your lightning port, which will actually amount to longer life of these components, if you want to call them components. But as you see, nice cutouts for your speakers once you actually have this applied. So like I said, not the easiest process to tuck this guy back in there, but not too big of a deal. On this side we have a clean edge. Obviously you're not going to be getting your SIM card out of here unless you unscrew that. Moving up top here, we do have the power button, which is very easy to push. It sticks out a good amount. It's not like recessed like I will get into with the Slim Shell. But overall, I have to say this is a very nice case. I really don't have too many cons about it, except the fact that if you're one of those people that's changing cases a lot, unscrewing these all the time really is a hassle. And if you don't have this guy on you, I mean, it's sort of like a proprietary. Maybe you can get like an Allen wrench in there, but hopefully you guys can see that. But if you don't have an Allen wrench or this tool on you and you want to change your cases, you're simply not going to be able to unless you like turn green and just hulk the thing off. But that would probably ruin it, I would assume. So I'm going to go ahead and take the PX260 off. Overall, I have to say it's a very nice case. If you want to drop, a good amount of money for a nice case that really will protect your phone against some drops, then I can definitely recommend this, especially for the screen, because as you can see, it is risen. The edge up here is risen from the screen, so if you drop it, the screen here is not actually touching the surface, only the case is. So like I said, a very nice protective solution, very stylish solution, especially if you have like a black phone. It may look even better, but I do like the white, the black, and the green. I've always really liked that. It's sort of like a Ken Block look if you're into that sort of thing, that gymkhana. So regardless, out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and take the PX260 off and we'll get into the Slim Shell. So moving on with the next case, here we have the Slim Shell from PureGear. Now this case is nowhere near as protective as the PX260, but then again the price is about half, and it's a pretty simple case for those of you guys that want a very simple design, something that's just going to protect from scratches, not necessarily a drop off of a cliff. So I'll go ahead and just show you guys around the case real quick. Here we have a nice cutout for the power button. Moving down the side here, we have, of course, the cutout for, the very standard, the volume buttons, the cutout for the silent switch. Moving down here, we just have one big gap for all, the speaker, the microphone, and that lightning port. On this side, we have a nice clean edge, and of course, on the back, we have a glossy finish, which you can see does attract some fingerprints and scratches, as well as the cutout for the camera. And also these little, I guess, hopefully you guys can see this. Nice, they have like little bumps here on, right there. I really have no idea what those are for, but regardless, go ahead and we'll slip the iPhone 5 into the case. So very easy. I always like to start with these buttons just to be sure that those get through the holes successfully. So there's Twitter. But as you can see, the phone slips right in. Everything does line up great. Go ahead and focus this for you guys. Pretty much perfect right here. I mean, I have no complaints about the way this case fits. And as I mentioned with the PX260 that I'd get into with this, really the main thing that I don't like about this case is that the fact that this switch is recessed. So as you can see, it doesn't stick out, and you actually have to like dip your finger down into that groove to hit the power button. So even if I like keep my finger flush here and push, as you can see, I'm not hitting that button. So if you're the person that I'm sure you are that holds your phone like this and you just use this finger, you really have to push it down like into the case in order to activate that button. And that's not a big deal, because if you want to turn the phone on, you can just hit the home button. The only time you have to use that if you want to turn the screen completely off. So I found myself, it's something you kind of get used to. It's really not that big of a deal, but for some people it could be a bigger deal than others. But on the back, I will say that the camera lines up perfectly. Once again, I did not have any problems taking pictures with the flash on. None of that circle effect in the pictures. Now, another thing I don't like about this case is the fact that this thing vibrates extremely loud if placed on the desk like this. The front here is sort of like a different material than this plastic part back here. This is sort of like more of like a rubber material, whereas the black part is just straight up plastic. So I found myself, if my phone is just sitting on the desk like this and it vibrates, it's very loud. So I'd simply turn it over like that, and it does fix that, but then of course I can't see the screen. So I mean, I'll be trying to record some videos and my phone will vibrate, and if I have it like this, I mean, I have to like stop what I'm doing just because it is very obnoxious. It's just vibrating plastic on a wood surface. So that's pretty much the biggest con. Second, I would have to say, is that. But other than that, this is a very simple case. Goes in easily. You can take the case off fairly easily. Could be a little bit easier, but compared to the PX260, this is some cake here. So actually, I'll go ahead and I'll see if I can do this in real time. It can be tricky sometimes. As you can see, I do have to bend the case a pretty decent amount to get the phone out of here. But like I said, compared to the PX260, this is a cakewalk. Like that, and the phone is now out. And you can see in there it is a reflective surface rather, and there is some scratches and fingerprints in there. Same with the back with the very simple PureGear logo. So overall, I have to say, the design of this very simple. If you don't want to drop $60 on a case, this is a very good route to go. It's just plain, it's simple. It'll protect you from scratches, but if you drop your phone off a cliff, this won't do you much good. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this. In terms of protection, nowhere near against the PX260, or like I said, or actually I'm about to get into with the Dual-Tech, but overall a very solid case for the price that you're going to pay for it. Moving on to the final case for this video, and my favorite of the three, here we have the PureGear Dual-Tech, and once I get into this, I think you guys will see why it is my favorite. So we'll go ahead and just show you guys around here. We have a nice textured surface inside as well as outside, which is always nice. We have 4 little rubber grips, 1 in each corner, because let's face it, 80% of the time you drop your phone, it's going to land somewhere on the corner. So very nice to have there. It really does absorb some shock. Moving down here, you have your very standard cutouts like in all 3 and pretty much every case out there for the silent switch as well as your volume buttons. Down here we have a big old cutout for the lightning, microphone, and speaker. This side we have a plain side, but it is textured. Let's see if I can get this to focus here. There we go. Of course we'll flip it. And of course up top, very, very nice solution for the power switch. I'll get a little bit more into that in a second, as well as, of course, the cutout for the camera. So on the back here, just get a little bit more into the design. We have the Dual-Tech logo. Overall, one thing that really stands out with this case is obviously the colors. I am a green fanatic. I love green. Like I said, even on like the PX260 up here, that little green accent, I just love it. But this case being a couple different shades of green as well as black, and when the phone is in here, some white up here, I just think it looks absolutely awesome. This case does come in different colors. I think they have like a blue, they have a white, actually I think even a few more colors as well. So I'll go ahead and, without wasting any more time, go ahead and slip the iPhone 5 into here, just like that. And I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite things about this case. As little as it seems and as petty as it may seem, pushing this button is way easier than it is on a case like the Slim Shell. It's not recessed, it's very comfortable to push, and I guess just the material, it has a nice feedback when you push it. The little things, I mean, that really kind of makes cases stand out from each other. But go ahead and here just show you the way all the I/O lines up. Looking at the bottom, that lightning connector. Now, one thing that I don't like about this case is that it doesn't protect your ports. Same thing with the Slim Shell here, like the PX260 does, if I can avoid the fails here. This actually really does help keep dust and dirt and debris out of these connections. I mean, let's face it, once they're dirty, they're never going to be the same again. So, I mean, this is exposed, but overall, I've never had problems personally, but, just take that risk. But on this side, like I said, very blank side with some texture. On the back, very standard camera cutout. Once again, no interruption or no weird distortions in your images with the flash. Works just fine. Now, this case, while it looks freaking awesome, it actually protects your phone a lot as well. Like I mentioned earlier, these rubber corners really do help absorb a lot of shock. You'll go from dropping your phone and hearing this to dropping your phone and hearing this. And you can really hear how much shock that really does absorb and help keep your phone that much safer. Like I said on the bottom, very simple design overall. I mean, everything about this case, it's very simple, yet it feels great in the hands and really does offer a lot of protection. And the textured sides really do help keep it from slipping out of your hands. I mean, especially if it's like raining outside or you're just doing a lot of activity running around. It is very easy to, just be running or something and your phone just, there it goes, a couple $100s on the ground. But this case does make it easier to hold, and so overall I think it does add a lot of protection to your device. Now this case, I guess, is moderately priced. I believe it comes in around $40, $39.99, so that's about what you'll pay, I think, for a nice case like this. It's not an extreme case. I mean, I still think that if you drop this from a pretty good height, you will be okay. And let's face it, the case looks really nice. This is my favorite case out of all of them, simply just because the added protection, even of just the little things, like these little rubber grips on each side. We have very easy to push power button, just the very little things that really just pull this case together as my favorite. So as you can see, the phone is very easy to actually get out of this case as well. Of course, when I try to do it on camera, I have a little more problems, but still overall much easier than a case like the PX260. And I think any case that does offer some pretty decent protection, you will have to sort of struggle to get it out, but this case less than others, at least in my opinion and from my personal experience. So here we have the Dual-Tech, here we have the Slim Shell, and here we have the PX260. Like I said, all these can be found, as well as the other 3 remaining others, the utilitarian, the kickstand case, as well as the PX360, all on PureGear.com, so be sure to check the link out down there in the description. Like I said, I highly recommend checking out the Dual-Tech. So if I were to rank these, I'd say Dual-Tech, this is a toughie, I'm going to say PX260, and then slim shell, just because these offer the most protection, whereas this one is sort of, a nice aesthetic, very simple case. So I hope you guys enjoyed this overview of PureGear's latest and greatest cases for the iPhone 5. Be sure to check me out on Twitter. I'm at CPUKid. Also be sure to check out RocheTechnology.com and at RocheTechnology on Twitter. Please thumbs up if you like this review in any way, shape, or form. It really does help out the channel. And I hope to see you guys in my next video.